Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Griever's Behind the Bar review for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn, chapter 182.5. Point 5, I had no idea this was coming out. I'm excited. I just read it. I didn't even realize it was dropped, if it was out. I don't usually check every single day for every single manga site, so I was a little shocked to find out that this was released a couple days ago, but I'm here now to review it. It was relatively short, not a whole lot to say, so I'm just going to give a quick overview and tell you a few of my quick thoughts on this. When I read this follows Hawk, as Hawk and tae-woo and Hyundai, I believe, and the members of the Wind Tribe, right, when they were younger. I wasn't sure. I at first believed that this probably happened before the martial arts tournament, but apparently it did happen after the martial arts tournament, where Hawk became the Thunder Beast, the Lightning Beast of Koka Kingdom, and he defeated Juntai, the general of the Earth Tribe, because right now that's where they are. They're basically visiting the Earth Tribe, and they're wandering around with Mundok. They got a little separated, and they end up at a weapons store trying to locate Mundok. During this, we see that Hawk takes an interest in a guandao. I'm once again not sure how to pronounce this type of weapon. It's a halberd. It's a spear-like halberd sword weapon. Hawk's weapon. And we were getting a little bit of information on it. It cut down over 1,000 people. It was wielded by an old Kai hero. All this stuff. And during this chapter, I believed that he was going to get this. I wasn't realized at the time. It felt like it flew by so fast because this was a standard manga chapter length. It was about 20 pages. It was not the usual 35 plus. So I thought there was plenty of time for him to, eventually be given this guando thing. And he was not. This was not the weapon that Hawk eventually uses. He tells Mundok later near the end of the chapter that he wants one for himself one day. He wants to save up for it and buy one himself. But this is where Hawk took interest in this type of weapon. So that was fun. Like, once again, this chapter, because I'm going to complain about one small thing at the end, but this chapter as a whole this is the type of fun. Think of this as the cover serials in One Piece, or a filler episode in a otherwise serious shonen. The beach episode in a isekai manga. What does it actually do for the story? You just need to have the school trip episode and the beach episode, and basically the reason just to have some pointless fun. Usually in longer running series, you do have these chapters, or more so, it's rare in the manga, but in the anime adaptations, they usually add in all these scenes that aren't super, super relevant. They don't push any plots along or stories along. They're just giving some, information. Here's just a fun little thing that they did one night when they were camping. Here's a camping trip they took. Here's a little bit of a backstory when these two first met and stuff. Akatsuki no Yona is one of the only series that does this consistently. We have gotten many, I say many, but it feels like a lot for a manga. We have gotten a lot of things outside of the main story, these little 0.5 chapters that give us some context and background of each character. We see just the little things like, a young Princess Yona, and Hawk back in the castle and stuff. Usually flashback-esque, because I don't believe that the author wants to reveal anything or follow anybody else. He wants to, or he or she, I think it's she, I don't know, wants to flow this story along at the pace that they're doing it, and they don't want to add in these different distractions in the meantime. Like, this is happening at the same time that this is happening. Though some of that information might be interesting, they're always following flashbacks, but that builds up characters more. We get to have a little bit more insight into how they think. We get a little more information about their background. We try to tie it together, and it doesn't slow down the pacing of the story. We can have a quick chapter like this about Shina, and the current story doesn't really focus on him too much in his predicament right now, right? But we can still have that little chapter to show a scene from when he was a kid growing up with and stuff. So that being said, I like this chapter because at the end of it, they go through realizing that, because remember, they're still young, they're in the store, and the Earth Tribe general the Earth Tribe shopkeeper, not the general, doesn't know about the Thunder Beast, doesn't think that this kid could have beaten Juntai, his general, of course. Like, Juntai would never lose. He's like, the Wind Tribe has the weakest military. What are you kind of kids doing, or what are you saying? And they get frustrated, because they're insulting Lord Hawk and all this stuff. Hawk basically calms the situation, takes him outside, and says, look, guys, not many people know I'm the Thunder Beast. It's not something it's not a huge, big thing, right, that I beat Juntai. It hasn't traveled to the four corners. It's kind of kept, honestly, a little hush-hush. And we get some inner monologuing from him, talking about how he would like to travel one day. He doesn't really want to become the general. He wants to be able to travel and see the world with a sword strapped to his back, which is where he gets his love of the whatever, the halberd. And at the end of the day, they leave the store, as I said, and a thief comes through and rushes through and with said weapon, and thief, shoplifter, someone stop him. And that's when we see our favorite captain. Oh, I love this old broad. She's cool. I really like her. We get her. We see a shot of her, hooded and stuff, and this thief going towards her and stuff. And we see jae-ha and we see Hawk both strike this guy at the same time, stopping him. The shopkeeper catches up. They exchange a glance, but they don't. According to, I believe it's jae-ha or Hawk, one of them, they didn't really get a good look at each other's faces. So this would clearly be why they didn't recognize each other later on. Because they didn't really get a good look, because, he was like, Captain, are you all right, sort of idea, and Hawk was being called over by someone else. At this point, I expected the shopkeeper to be like, wow, you really are something, kid, this weapon, it might suit you after all, or something like that, and that's how he was going to get it. That's not what happens. Moondog catches up with them, and that's basically the end of the chapter. It's nothing crazy. It's a little bit of Hawk saying, yeah, I really want to travel the world, meet crazy people like that. I just wish I could get a chance to see his face, or jae-ha said it. One of them said it. So we get a young jae-ha here as well, who was quite a bit taller than Hawk at the time. So Hawk went through a major growth spurt in between then and present storyline, and jae-ha seems to have been a more gradual one. I know he is older, but still. And then so as a quick overview, I didn't really want to go through every scene and panel by panel sort of idea. Save that for the real review, because the other ones, you really want to talk about almost every reaction in every panel and stuff, right? In the actual chapters. As I said, there was only one thing that I kind of dislike. I don't mind it, but it's a trope that's been happening for a long time in not just manga and anime, but in long-running things. Not so much movies, but like TV series. When TV series start to run out of fresh ideas, they start to try to connect things back. A lot of dramas do this. One I can think of off the top of my head is the Vampire Diaries series. That does it. I know that the Big Bang Theory has done it once or twice. These are just instances where characters in the show who haven't met later on in the series, in a few more seasons, in a few more arcs, we get a scene that, they actually met way back then and they just forgot and stuff. I never like that. I really never like that. Not that it's not possible. I'm sure there are people that I've met in the street, that probably went to elementary school with or something, and I don't know them from a hole in the ground. I really don't. So it's not that can't happen, especially at younger ages. I know it's been 10 years and I only met him for a night or a day or whatever. So I'm not upset that wouldn't be able to happen. Like, who could be so forgetful? It's just, the story is fine without everything having to connect. characters didn't need to meet each other. Zeno, in this series, Zeno being the exception. Zeno makes sense. But soo-won never needed to meet any of the other characters before. Like, I'm not saying he has. I'm just saying he never needed to. Hawk never needed to meet any of the dragons prior to now. Yona never needed to meet any of the dragons, with the exception of maybe Zeno, other than now. The story works fine. They don't need to be interconnected. It doesn't break plot holes. It doesn't break storylines. It's just a trope. And this didn't hurt. This didn't hinder or help. I think that's my point. This didn't grow Hawk or jae-ha's character because they met before. It also didn't do anything for their individual characters because they met before. It didn't do anything for their relationship or nothing. Because this isn't something like, you know, jae-ha saying, I thought you forgot about that or something, and it's now relevant to the story. Do you remember that shop back then? That's the shopkeeper. It's not something that's relevant. Actually, I think that might have actually made it worse if jae-ha had known the whole time, oh, I remember Hawk. It's like, why did you never bring that up before? That's the problem. In series, people always, like, they never bring it up until it becomes plot relevant, and then it feels convenient. Then it becomes plot convenience. So this hasn't done that. It hasn't hurt or hinder it because of this, but it also didn't do anything to help it. There was no need for this chapter to include Jae-ha and the Captain Gia. It had no, there's no bonus. There's nothing there to help that. At least in my opinion. It didn't push anything. It didn't do anything for the story. It might become relevant later, and maybe we're getting it now so it doesn't feel so plot conveniency when it does happen. But just for right now, I'm a little meh. Like, as I said, because usually that is done just for plot convenience 90% of the time. Here it wasn't used that way, but once again, I just didn't feel it was necessary. So, and because I've seen it used poorly and for plot convenience so often, I think I'm a little hesitant to like the, of course jae-ha happened to be in that town in the Earth Tribe, when of course Hawk happened to be there. You know, like that one time Hawk actually visited, and the one time jae-ha and the captain weren't at sea, and the one time, and of course there was a shoplifter. You know, like it's just, you know. But that being said, it does not mean that was, I know that was a bit of a rant, but that was only the one little issue, the thing that bugged me about the chapter. The rest was fine. It didn't really add much to the story. We just got a little more insight into Hawk's character. Once again, this is just fluff. This is what I call fluff, and it's good to have. You know, it's what we all want. I guarantee you, as hype as the Wano arc in One Piece is right now, aren't you excited to just see the Straw Hats all together partying on the Sunny again? Nothing moving forward in the chapter, just them having a good old party. You know, let's go on our next voyage, just partying on the Sunny for a chapter. Nobody would have a problem with that because we love these characters. We love to see them just be themselves in a relaxed party type setting. We get it more, once again, anime because of extended scenes and filler. And that's part of what builds and makes the world feel more alive. It's not just One Piece. It's just One Piece is an easy one to use that a lot of people understand. That being said, that's that chapter. That's the half chapter, the 182.5, not 183, of Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. What did you, ladies and gentlemen, think of the chapter? What did you think of the review? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to hit that bell notification if you guys want to know every single time I drop a video, because my schedule, I can drop it at any time on any day. So, that being said, guys, this has been Griever, Behind the Bar Reviews. Drink responsibly as always, and we'll see you back here for the real chapter 183. See ya.